And I got the call. And I was like, hey, you want to drive? And I'm like, the 90% of my brain is like, yeah. The 10%, like I said, that the part that I'm pretty sure is just missing was like, that's more than our house, dude. What are you doing? Quickly stifled that. Like, didn't even hear that part. Yeah, let's get in there, right?
Green flag.
Welcome to the Blind Apex Podcast, where amateur club racers tune in to get faster.
This episode is brought to you by DHWorks Fuel Systems. Use Apex 10 at DHWorks.com to save 10% on fueling your passion. When a homie goes to his first endurance race to actually drive, not just to look, I want to hear about it because I sort of fantasize about massive amounts of track time, strategy, trials and tribulations, and the potential of a great track adventure you get to share. This homie happens to be a gym rat, a track rat, Pidgey's dad, Bald and the Beautiful out of the Northeast, Dylan. And his friend is joining us, endurance racer, firefighter, apparently. Forgive the noise that's going to come. Instructor, master of NGMP, with an extensive collection of small street cars. Yes, I stalked you online. And I hope you like Cipru as much as I do, Pete. So, Pete and Dylan.
Cipru, oh, man, this guy knows me too well.
I should go get a bottle right now. Pete and Dylan, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. So, Dylan, I don't know. Pete, set the stage. Where were you guys in this endurance race? What were you guys doing?
Well, before, during, after, what do you want to hear first?
How did you scumbag Dylan into being on your team?
So we needed
who's scumbag to here? That's the real question.
We're all a collective scumbag, so it's fine. We just had to add to the pile of scum.
Right.
So we needed another driver, and I couldn't think of anyone better than this guy. He's helped us a couple times. Well, he's helped me more than a couple of times, and he's helped the team a couple of times in terms of setup, and I figured I was given a chance, so why not pass it on? And yeah, it made sense to me. It felt right, and I figured I could make fun of him all weekend, so it felt good.
Yeah, and you get to make fun of him all podcasts. So what? Oh,
that too. Yeah.
What is the actual event that broke Dylan's cherry in endurance racing?
Yeah, so that was the last round of AER's. I'll call it a championship, but no offense to AER. It's amateur stuff, and it's the last race of the season. The November event they've done for a handful of years now. It's a 14-hour race at NJMP Thunderbolt.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a good amount. Oh, sorry, I might be getting a loose connection there. Sorry. It gets a pretty good attendance. So we typically bring a lot of cars too. The team my friend owns and I drive with and help run and all that. And this year I think we had 4 plus a 5th satellite car. It's kind of hard to explain. It's a friend's shop that was kind of coaxed into bringing the car. So there's 5 cars under the main umbrella basically, plus another couple of friends' cars, and everyone's eating from the same what's it called? Food service that we bring. So it's a good time.
Okay.
It's a good time.
So it was an AER event.
Right.
Dylan.
And for those of you who don't know, AER is American Endurance Racing.
Yes. Okay. So Dylan, what were your expectations?
So I like Pete said, I crewed for the team's called Rubenstein Performance Garage, and Alex is the guy who runs it. And I crewed for them before last year, so I kind of had an idea of what I would be getting into in terms of driving. And I had my own wonderfully disappointing attempt at an enduro experience at Road America with another team that ended up providing some questionable cars the year before. So I kind of had an idea what enduro was about to an extent. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions I had was that, there's this conversation about like, do you even have to drive fast in an enduro? Right? Like Pete, I'm sure that this is like familiar to Pete, right? And I feel like I feel like even thinking about that as a conversation point just shows how green I was, because like it's so much less of a contributing factor because like, yeah, like, so first of all, if you're a good driver, you're driving 8/10, 9/10 the whole time anyway, right? Like you're driving fast laps. Like Pete and John were driving the same car that I was, John, Ryan Lewis, and they were faster than me on like average lap time. And then not only that, but like if let's assume that you can drive that car fast, right? 8/9/10 for 3 laps in a row, 4 laps in a row. Now do that for an hour to 2 hours straight. Right. So like that it just shows how green I was, because I think if you walk into an enduro and you say like, how fast are these guys going to be? You're missing the entire point. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's more so about literally the endurance aspect of it, I think.
Yeah. So okay, it's a little bit further down my bullet list here, but let's get into it now because we're talking about it. So I want to hear from you, Honda Challenge racer, highly competitive. What's the aggression level like in the AER versus sprint race?
It depends. It depends who you're asking or you're talking to. I mean, I got a little shove in class 4 into turn 7, and it wasn't a big deal. And I was aggressive on the brakes. Pete knows the lateral grip of the car so well, and he's kind of crazy. So like his driving is extremely aggressive. He's good at making passes cleanly and getting through traffic, and the aggression definitely depends on who you're driving with, right? So enduro with like Champ or enduro with AER is very different than like enduro with WRL, from what I understand. I've never run WRL, but I've been to a failed Champ attempt. And I've been to 2 AER events, so I'm not a veteran by any means. But the aggression varies significantly. It depends on which driver you have in the car, I think. Pete, you can tell me I'm full of crap.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, aggression is really depends on how willing you are to take risk. From the outside, you can call it aggression, but from the inside, it's just a matter of what kind of decisions you want to make. And so far, it's been working out for me. I know people call me crazy in general, but the amount of contact I've had is fairly minimal. I mean, there is still contact. The age-old slow car in front, guy goes to pass him thinking he left him room. Slow car in front drives the perfect F1 level, masterful line and just chops the car down. And then when they talk afterwards, it's the same old story. The car in front says something along the lines of, I didn't even know you were there. And that pretty much gives it away that they're unaware. The car behind got a different message from the behavior of the car in front, and we came together. So that's going to be unavoidable, aggression level or not. You'll be making a clean pass as a careful, slow driver, and you'll still have those moments where you make new friends. But as far as, comparing other series, Champ is a little bit more laid back, to a little more entry level. Sure. I mean, you still get people that are very comfortable up front. I mean, I've had some insane moments in Champ. We're not going to go too far into those, but AER is a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more. And then WRL, everyone's bringing their little rulers and measuring their little members, and a lot of extra money shows up too. So a lot on the line, and yeah, you get a lot of very expensive moments. So
okay,
yeah.
So, all right. So since it sounds like you've been around the endurance series, the circuits, can you rank Lemons, Champ, AER, and WRL for level of aggression?
I mean, listen, one bad apple in any of those series will make the aggression seem impossible. But the way you just listed them is more so a good way to rank the performance level. And that incurs aggression, right? If you're out there in a Miata, you could be as aggressive as you want. You're harmless. You're like a little kitten running around. If you're out there in an M4 GT4, I mean, you could be a dentist. Sorry, not a dentist. Excuse me. Sorry to all the dentists out there. Sorry. But you could be, a gentleman driver, and you think you're safe and going slow, and you're literally in a missile. And you'll look aggressive.
Right.
You'll be aggressive. You'll hit someone very aggressively.
I mean,
it's more performance based, really.
Okay, because I went to go watch my first endurance race locally at Summit Point, and it was a Lemons race, and yeah, it was. Well, they were a little aggressive with each other, but the pace, I feel like I could have got out there in my pickup truck and lapped everybody. So
you're right. You could have. You definitely could have. But that's the thing. It's entry level, and it has its place.
Right.
And it's still a great ton of fun. And all four of these series, besides some people that go to WRL for whatever reason, like I said, the little ruler comes out for them. But the biggest thing with all of these events is the extreme social bonding, right? You do sprint races and some smaller stuff. Yeah, you get together with some local friends and a couple friends and have a good time. But this is like you just did an 8-hour battle with 4, maybe more if there's more cars, good friends. And it's awesome. It's so much wheel time, so much aggression. No, I'm kidding. It's a different experience than sprint typically, and you get a little bit more bonding. But yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I love it. I've done it for 10 years, so.
I think it's hard to it's so apples to oranges. Like, I think trying to, as a sprint racer, trying to compare sprint to enduro, it's like trying to compare like a giraffe to a butterfly. Like, they are very different in a lot of ways, because, like, for example, in sprint, like, if you find that your wheel bearing is making the back of your car want to fall off, right? Like, you would typically bring it in, right? Because you're going to be an obstacle to people out there, right? Whereas in enduro, it's like, well, we need to finish this race, right? So you might change your driving, right? So, like, one of our drivers on the radio is like, yeah, the back of your car looks pretty sketchy. Just keep it off the curbs. And I said, okay, which side? And he was like, left side. So, okay. So I had to undercook the corners to keep the left side of the car off the curbs. You know what I mean? That's something that, like, in Honda Challenge, I mean, yeah, you could do that, but you're going to finish in last. You know what I mean? So it's like, whereas in enduro, right? So let's say you lose pace because you're nursing a mechanical. The guys or girls in front of you might also have a mechanical, right? And then it's like, the best survive. Let the best person survive, right? It's like evolution, right? Survival of the fittest.
And that's part of the strategy, right? Like, in a sprint race, we'll save the car, we'll get them next race because we have 3 races or whatever that weekend. But in the endurance race, you're in the race, like, it is the weekend. So,
yeah. Oh yeah. Our favorite saying is just drive the car. Someone will come in and say, oh, I only have 3 wheels left. And we'll say, just drive the car. At least give the mechanics time to get ready to do the repair.
Right.
For example,
parts and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Car 20 had a power steering failure during the 14-hour. And I got on the radio and started trying to diagnose. People reminded me to look at coolant temp, all the things of just kind of brainstorming. And then that gave time for us to decide, okay, I kept turning laps with no power steering. I told him, hey, get power steering fluid, possibly get a pump, get the tools and the stuff ready to do the work, because the less downtime, the better. And besides, if you just kamikaze in and like, oh, I can't drive it. It's like, okay, and now everyone's going. What if now a double yellow happens? If you had just been turning laps, then you'd come in during a slow time. It's more advantage. You never stop trying to go forward because you never know what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense to me. So you keep saying car 20 or this car and that car. What exactly were you guys driving?
Well, there was a couple options. The fleet at RPG, the team's name, Rubin Performance Garage, is RPG. We brought down 4 cars. 3 of them were E36s.
Mm-hmm.
There was a NC Miata that is a B-class champ car build. We've been very successful in the 24 hours of VIR the last couple of years. Not this year. We didn't go this year. But it's a 2-liter. It's got very nice brakes. It has a very soft suspension, and it's a lot of fun. We call it the Yeeter. That's car number 600. There was a Spec 3 E36, which is just a Spec 3. We didn't change anything much from that. There's a pair of 4-door E36s, one of which is S52 powered, has really good suspension. I think, I can't remember if it's 2 ways or 3 ways, but it's really sorted, has aero. It's a very nicely sorted car, works pretty well. Car 20, sorry, that car was 293, the one I just mentioned. Car 20 is a limited aero. It has the factory LTW, and we're trying to build it towards the WRL's GP1 class, which forces us to use a Conti and has very limited suspension options. We were running on single adjustables. It has a 275 wide tire. We were on Durez's on the day of the race, but we've been testing with Contis. That car is S54 powered, so it's a rocket. And yeah, that was car 20. So that's the main fleet. I'm not going to go into all the other
the sub cars that branches are everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. The friends of friends of friends.
Well, see, I think that's the thing that you endurance racer guys do is you collect all the cars.
Oh yeah. Well, at least the ones of us that have money.
Well, yeah, but I don't. Every endurance racer that I've met, like if there's a good deal, they got it. It's fine. They'll find it.
Well, I mean, listen, don't bring up our mental shortcomings with endurance racing. I think all of us have that problem. If any of your listeners too, if they see a good deal, you think they're just going to be like, oh well, let's leave that alone. We're all going to buy it.
I have 4 cars right now, and I live in a house alone. Yeah.
Well, I don't live in a house alone, and my wife would kill me if I brought home another one. But I will send it out in a group chat so somebody finds it. So I'll enable somebody.
The thought is what counts. So you would have been one of us too.
Exactly. See, your wife is holding you back. She's keeping you sane. Yes. She's keeping you sane passing, right? Like you're passing as a sane person.
Yeah. I'm definitely not. If you saw my garage and the 27 gallon black and yellow bins, that everybody lives out of. I have 3 of them full of transmissions just for my little front wheel drive Honda. So
that's the Honda. That's a Honda person. That's a Honda person problem is to have all these spares.
Lots of spares, right? So, yeah. So let's talk about how this race went. You obviously started having a problem, but how'd you limp this car in or not? Or how did it go, Dylan?
Well, it was a short story for the 20, at least. The 293 is probably a far more interesting tale, but the 20, I started it, kamikaze, as usual. I had a great stint, handed it over to Dillon. He drove his stint. I heard he was coming in. I decided I needed to take a dump. He stayed in the car. I figured if it's his first race, he might as well suffer and do a double stint. Okay. And really,
I was excited. Like, so it's funny. The Alex, the team owner, he was like, Dillon, you might be driving 5 hours tomorrow. Are you okay with that? And I was like, yeah, that's amazing. And he's like, no, you don't understand. that's like a lot of driving. And I was like, yeah, no, that sounds great. That's awesome. And then, so I was in the car and they're like, Dillon, you're going to be doing a double stint. I was like, yes, this is great. And then I'm driving and I'm like, guys, the wheel bearing is falling off this thing. And so one of our team members was on the track and I got in front of him and he was like, let me watch it. He's like, yeah, it looks like the wheel bearing is failing on the left side. So,
by the way, I don't know what he's talking about. First of all, when I get in the car after you, I felt nothing. It felt great. And second of all, when I checked the car after the race, nothing's loose. So I don't know what he was seeing.
You know what's crazy? So I have slow motion video of my BMW going through the bus stop at Watkins Glen. And if you watch the front left wheel, it's like moving like this.
Huh.
And it could be bushing deflection, but it does not look like bushing deflection. And I put it up in the air when I got home, right? And I shook the wheel and there's no like wheel bearing play. But like when I drive it on the road, it has like that hum that you hear as wheel bearings are starting to fail. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's something about BMW wheel bearings that are just eluding me, right?
You're the consultant. You tell us.
Eluding.
Did you look that up on Google?
No, not on
English is my second language, so I have to be extra attentive to how poorly I speak.
Understood.
So, okay. The double stint. How much do you think your gym time helped you get through the double stint, Dillon?
Well, so there are a lot of drivers that are probably faster than me in like Pete was faster than me in that car, right? There are probably drivers that are enduro drivers that are better than me who don't go to the gym as much. I would say that for this being my first time in a race, back in a race car in 2 years in like an S54 powered E36, the gym helped a lot because I didn't really have to worry about the fatigue at all. So like my neck hurt when I came in after, a double stint. And I was a little bit thirsty when I came in to refuel. But, it's been my experience in general that the harder I push myself cardiovascularly in the gym and the more I focus on like concentration reps when I'm doing weightlifting and things like that, it helps with the mind muscle connection and it helps me to do really well in the car. And it's almost unconscious because like I've been in really good shape to the point where, I was cycling, I was doing 60-mile rides every weekend and things like that. And then I've been in okay shape and I've noticed the change in the car. So being like completely green to an enduro and then doing like the double stint and being my first time back in an actual race car in 2 years, I think the gym helped a ton, honestly.
So Pete, as a firefighter, how much gym time are you getting?
Don't ask me that, bro. You know how good the food is here? Gym time? Oh, my God. I can't tell you what kind of gym time I get because I can't count that low. Jesus. Gym time is wrenching on cars and the endurance racing. That's been my cardio. I used to be in shape other than round back in the day. And yeah, I lost interest. I had all my fun with the gym and all that. And now it's just, I work on cars as hard as I can and it seems to work. And obviously the firefighting helps too. For the record, anyone listening, I'm a full-time guy. So I'm constantly out here. I'm not just, showing up and blocking off the streets. No offense to you, Volleys. I respect what you guys do. You do it for free. I get it. But yeah, there's a lot of sweat here, unfortunately. So
yeah, it happens. Where you guys are.
I think that, but I also think that Pete is like a genetic freak of nature in ways because he's like one of those guys who's just got that like, I can't say, No, I can't say this on the podcast. He's just got that strength. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
he's just
yeah,
he's just got that strength.
The one with the classroom with the other okay.
He's just got that strength, and he said he doesn't go to the gym, but he was a power lifter, right? You were a power lifter.
I was,
college, right?
yes, yeah.
So,
many moons ago.
I remember my buddy let me drive his shifter cart, which was a terrible mistake. It was a tag cart. It wasn't even a shifter cart. And I was like fresh out of college. I think I did like 3 track days, and I was just out of shape. And I went out to the track, and this guy was just running circles around everyone. And I forget what it was called. It was in Maryland, though, the raceway. And the guy was just running circles around everyone. And he would get out of the cart and just chain smoke Marlboro Reds. And then he would just get back in the cart and just continue to run circles. I think there are just some people that are just genetic freaks of nature. You know what I mean?
That's me and cheeseburgers, dude. Corey keeps making cheeseburgers. I eat like 2 between stints, and I'm like, let's do more.
Corey made really good food that weekend.
Look,
shout out to Corey.
Your shifter cart, tag cart friend needed to nick up, and Pete needs to cholesterol up so he can get back out there.
I mean, I picked up cigars, to be fair, and they made me pretty fast in 23. So
I had no idea it worked like that.
Yeah, listen, there's a racer in H2 up here who smokes Marlboro Reds. He's pretty quick, and you know what I mean. So
this is great advice so far.
We're already going to the place where we can't go. You know what?
These performance enhancing
guys, chain smoke and cheeseburgers, you'll be driving all day.
Yes.
Someone out there is going to be like, I like this podcast. Hell yeah. These guys.
I'm just real, I'm just kidding, because there are so many people out, because what I said about the gym, that's definitely true. It's 1,000% true. But also, there are so many just genetic freaks of nature out there. Like, there was this kid I grew up with in my neighborhood, and he would beat up all of the other kids, but he was gigantic. And he was 6'4", overweight. But we would play football on the street, and he would outrun everybody. He was just a freak of nature. You know what I mean? So
sounds like a demon.
Weird analog, but yeah.
So, well, I don't beat anyone up, I don't think. So
I'll stop talking. You just I'm here. I'm gonna represent.
Only on the track. So Pete, how did you sales pitch a noob onto the team? How did you?
That's a really.
How did you sales pitch?
So there's only one person that really matters in terms of decisions, and that's Alex. Okay. So Dillon sales pitched himself. He actually helped us, and Alex is a very interesting guy. He can read people pretty well. He kind of knows from the get-go if he's going to get along with someone, and he got along with Dillon. And like I said, Dillon was very helpful with a little development on our other cruise missile of a car. It's an LS3 powered E46 M3 with 3-way Olins. So this thing is, I love that car. Anyway, Dillon helped a lot there. Alex saw his feedback was very good. They vibed on a Tylenol and trains level, and all good. And when I said, hey, Alex said we need drivers, because we missed a couple races since August, including the 24 hours of VIR, which we love the race, and it was the last one this year, so it was really hurtful. And we had to watch the Rockwells sweep it, because they usually don't, because we usually ruin the party a little bit. Shout out to them. They obviously have a great program there.
Shout out to them. We beat them.
No, they still. I think they won last year.
I'm kidding. I'm going to go back on mute.
I'm not going to bring that up. Anyway, so we missed a couple races, and Alex kind of went we're going to do the 14-hour, bring everything. And then we brought everything, and all of a sudden I was like, there's only 2 drivers per car, which to me, all right, you got cheeseburgers. I'm good. I could drive 10 hours. I don't care.
Burger and a porta potty.
Yeah, really. That's the other thing. Yeah. But actually, if I drive more, and it all comes out through my pores, so I just don't, even the cheeseburgers. So I don't even need a porta potty. You know,
that's what the sauna is for.
Exactly. So he needed drivers. When he said he needed drivers, I said, how about Dylan? He's he's a very interesting guy. One day you should talk to him. He's funny as hell. He just turns and goes, "Can he drive? Is he fast? You think he'll be okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, the guy, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. You have to keep a straight face when you talk to him, or else he'll sense the fear in your voice." And that was it. Once I kind of stuck up for Dylan there. Again, I wasn't lying. I do believe in Dylan. I appreciate what he did for us, and I know he can drive, and he's very, very technical. So it was a layup, is what I'm trying to say.
So, okay. So how would the average Joe get into endurance racing with a team in a series that's, say, more serious than Lemons?
Well, you got to start at Lemons. You have to have some sort of exposure. I'm not sure what the requirements are for Champ in terms of licensing, but the whole end game of endurance racing, in terms of your ability to move forward or upwards or be successful, is awareness. It's not just pace, because you're going to be like you said, average Joe. He's going to come in. He's going to afford something a little modest, a Miata with 3 cylinders working. You're going to be getting passed. Your race is always going to be in your mirrors. So are you going to have a race-ending incident because you got the horse blinders on and you're crapping your pants and you don't know what the hell's going on? Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's all a blur. No, I mean, the more aware you are, the more likely you'll have a good weekend. The more likely you'll work together with cars passing you. You'll be faster. You'll make less mistakes. If you're constantly in fight or flight, it's not going to work out. So an average Joe, what they need to do is, do Lemons. Go out there with all the other cars, the complete, I'm not going to say it, crapshoot out there, and pick up the skills of awareness and start showing that you're a good, consistent driver. And then, I hate to say it, but ultimately it's going to end up costing more and more money or more and more time, one of the two. If you, let's say, build your own car, do your own team, something like that. But yeah, just get out there and do something. It doesn't have to be straight to AER, straight to WRL. I mean, I can talk about them again, but I won't.
Yeah, but it was like they were doing parade laps at Summit Point, and that drive.
Yeah, listen, from your point of view, it looks like parade. From theirs, it's like they're in nirvana. They're having the time of their lives. But don't crap on their parade, man. Give them a break.
Yeah, I have a couple friends that love to do Lemons. It's personally not my cup of tea, but I did go to, but I do like how they party. I went to, they were at Thunderbolt while we were at Lightning, and they were having a really good time in the paddock. And to Pete's point, Con, I think your definition of an average Joe is different than Pete's definition of an average Joe, right? So Pete's definition of an average Joe is an average Joe. Someone who probably has HPDE2 experience, if that, right? For you, Con, I think someone who's an average Joe is somebody who's like been around the track, maybe has some, higher level HPDE experience, or at least knows a lot of people who can kind of guide them down the right path. And I think getting into enduro for someone like that might be a little bit different than what Pete is saying. Just because, so for me, if I wanted to get into enduro as a sprint racer, I would need to have I need to understand the rule book so that I understand what strategy I'm trying to run, right? So like Pete was talking about timing your yellows correctly, right? I would need to have provisions for fuel so that I can run the longest stint that I can, right? Or have some sort of strategy around that. Probably need to have more than 4 fuel jugs or more than 3 fuel jugs, maybe, right? And I would probably need a radio, right? You don't need a radio in sprint racing, right? So there are things that you need to consider that you probably wouldn't even think about if you were just doing NASA or SCCA or track days when it comes to endurance stuff. And I think Pete's right. Lemons is a great way to start that. And I think more than awareness, Lemons kind of gives you just like a context to how endurance racing looks in general, right? Like, so you might, because you might get bad awareness lessons from Lemons, right? But like, you will also get a lot of context about the use of radios and working with the team, right? Like in sprint racing, it's kind of like you come in after a good race number. It's like, yo, man, you did great out there, and then when I would come back in, maybe it's just gonna suck, but like when I would come back in, or like when other people would come back in, it was like, get out of the car, right? Okay, get this person in the car. All right, make sure the car's fueled. Go, 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 right? And it was more team oriented. It felt more like I was back playing hockey than if I was skateboarding. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. But as a sprint racer myself, like the race is over. The race takes forever to be over in the endurance series, right? Like you had a 14-hour race. Our days aren't 14 hours long as a sprint racer, Yeah, so yeah. I could see that. But I get it. I get the radios. I get the more than 4 fuel jugs, all the accoutrements that go with it. At the Lemons group, I saw carts. They were dragging all their fuel around in carts and all that stuff. I don't know no cart, So there are things I could learn, yes, but more along the lines of not driving a crap can. But
it's only money, man. You want to get into a nice GT4 car, sign a check, you can get right into whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So one of the big things that's holding me back as I don't want to replace the car. Right. So what's it like when you enter a team?
Ask Dillon.
Okay.
Don't ask me. I'm missing that part of the brain, the survival instinct and consequences. I don't know what that is. So.
Oh, yeah. So you don't want to write the car off, Con?
Yeah, I would prefer not to write the car off. I'd write my own car off, but if I'm in a seat of somebody else's car, like, what's that all look like? Are you putting down a big deposit? Are you? I don't know. What's going on with all that, and what's going on in your head when you're on track?
Yeah, so I mean, it depends. It's team to team dependent. It's whether you own the car. So some teams, it's more kind of like a gentleman's agreement where you're like, hey, if I mess something up, maybe I'm going to be working on this on the weekends with you, right? And then there are more formal agreements, like I tried at Road America, my failed attempt, where you sign a contract and then they write out, if you crash this car, you're liable for this much money. And it's, for me, it's about like calculated risk, right? So like, when Pete was like, hey, do you want to come help crew, for Alex? I was like, yeah, sure. And then, they let me drive the Spec 3 and I was like, okay, goal number 1, do not crash. And then when they asked me to come and drive this weekend, I was like, okay, goal number 1, don't crash, right? And I don't think that necessarily makes me slower. In the E36, I think I was slower just because I'm not used to a car that's that fast, quite honestly. Because I drove the Miata and I drove the Spec 3 and I did pretty well in those. And I would say that those are closer to like an H2 car. Whereas an S54 car is doing 140 miles an hour at the end of the front straight at Thunderbolt. And I think my H2 car did 130 if I was lucky, probably 125, right? So the not wanting to crash and not wanting to write it off just becomes a thing of calculated risk, right? And that doesn't have to be an enduro thing. That can be sprint or enduro, right? And it's all about your strategy. So like I've had moments in my Honda Challenge career. I'm trying to keep it real. So you can help me keep it real here. So in my amateur Honda Challenge life, I've had moments that will like die or try or whatever it is, like your fight or flight, and you just go and you just I'm gonna be corny again, but you just become like one with the car and you stop thinking. And then I've had moments where you step it up, right? So you hop in the car at 6/10 or whatever, and then you go 6.5, then you go 7, then you go 8, then you go 9, then you go 10, right? So that's kind of the strategy I take when I go into someone else's car, because I have people ask me to drive their cars a decent amount as an instructor. And, when Pete asked me, so I always go in 6/10 or so, and then I go higher, 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 higher. And then that way, if I do have an out of control movement, right at the edge of 10, I'm not at 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when you're in your own, this is the thing, right? So when you're in your own car, the one you own, the one you built, the one you've raced for years, right? It's a part of you. You don't have to come in at 6/10. You're going to come out at 8/10 in practice, 9/10 by the time it's over, and you're ready to rip. So it's different when you're in somebody else's car, I feel like. Or maybe I'm just a big sissy.
You said it ready to rip.
I do have one good tale. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Pete.
No,
you go.
All right.
No,
fine.
you go.
You go.
You go.
I always think about one thing when people ask me about, like, oh, you're in someone else's car. And like Dillon said, there's been occasions where I've been asked to drive nice cars, and many, many thanks to those owners that have let me drive them and so on. And anyway, there was one time I was at VIR. This is like 4 or 5 years back now. And I worked for Random Vandals Racing.
Okay.
Obviously, they've gone and blown up, and they're doing some fantastic stuff. And I technically still work for them, but that's a long story. So this specific weekend, they were running AER. And, that's where they came up from. They were running AER, and they were the first team to buy an M4 GT4 and F82 and run it in AER, which is like, holy crap.
It's wild.
Yeah, good for them. But it was everyone else in their like cars is like, okay, that's
really, bro. Yeah.
But anyway, this one specific weekend, one of the drivers had a medical emergency, and they called 10 guys, and all 10 of those guys were like IndyCar, like insane drivers. And number 11 was the friggin' mechanic from the shop, myself. And I got the call, and I was like, hey, you want to drive? And I'm like, the 90% of my brain is like, yeah.
Right.
The 10%, like I said, that the part that I'm pretty sure is just missing was like, oh, that's more than our house, dude. What are you doing? Quickly stifled that. Like, didn't even hear that part. Yeah, let's get in there, right? Meanwhile, this is brand new. So I think, what are they like? I think brand new they were like $250,000, maybe like just over 200 or so. So
right now they go for like 200,000 in decent shape with spares on like racing junk.
Right,
so
right.
That sounds right. Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot of freaking money. More money than all.
It's a lot of money. Well, let's just leave it at that. Yeah.
And I remember, like, before the day of the race, they told me I have to do one stint a day. I talked with the owner. We had a bit of an agreement, and it was kind of like, just don't be stupid, whatever that means. But he was in a position where he could cover stuff, but don't make some sort of obvious and very, very silly decision, right? The way my brain works, it's just I feel like, and again, this may be corny, this may be whatever. I feel like the moment I start having thoughts of responsibility and what if, I'm compromised. So I just let my brain operate at just make this car work, make this car turn, do what you need to do, and I just don't think about tomorrow. So there were some very vivid moments, because that was the first time I was in a pretty quick car. There were some very memorable moments going down like the straights between the lower and upper S's, or the back straight approaching the brake zone. And
car collector
it's
there.
Like, yeah, my brain has like a little moment, like the voice comes out. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this car is, you've been beating the crap out of the whole field. This is not even a race. Like, what the hell is the point of this? This car is worth more than everything you own. Yeah. And then the moment I get to the right, my foot getting on the brakes, I completely forget about all of it. And I just, I'll tell myself, like, oh, just take it easy through here. Like the upper S's, going through that 140 on street tires. you start thinking like, oh, Jesus Christ, like, what am I doing? But the moment I'm in it, I do it every time, just throw it in there, completely forget. And then afterwards, the little voice is like, you're an idiot. There's no helping you. And over time, it's just become mute. And that's just how I drive. And so far, so good. Obviously, I feel like I don't make crazy decisions. Some people may disagree, but that's why I don't, this isn't good advice to endurance racers. Like, oh, yeah, just go out there and be 10/10. It's not good advice at all. Maybe I'm not 10/10. I don't know, but
I just think you're bad at articulating what exactly you're doing. Because like I really like, I watched your video and everybody's like, he's a psycho, and I'm like, I mean, he's driving really well, and he's kind of fat. He's fast, and he puts the car where it needs to be. You know what I mean? So like I had this moment when I was getting into H2 where I had a racer in the right seat of the car when it still had a single cam, my Civic. And he was like, you have 5/10 left in the car. And I was like, that's a lot for a single cam. And then I watched a video with Jackie, and she was setting the old Thunderbolt lap record, I think. And just the rhythm of how she was shifting and when she would go on brake and back on gas, and there was no coasting. It just clicked. Something clicked in my brain. So I was able to drive like an H2-ish paced car to its limit for the most part when it comes to speed level. Then I drove the E36. I was probably like a second off pace. And I watched Pete's video, like a little bit of his video. And I watched him go through turn 11, or the last turn of Thunderbolt, through traffic, and he just didn't lift. And I was like, all right, so the car can do that. You know what I mean? And I think what Pete is describing is less a manic, psychotic, like willful negligence of your own reason. And it's more so an incremental, like, exercise where you're getting faster and faster and faster and faster to the point where you just are at the limit. And I think what Pete is saying is that in order to get to those incremental steps, you have to be able to take some of that reasoning and write it off and say, like, I don't care about the outcome. Yes, I care about the outcome before I get in the car and after, but in the car, it's all calculated, step up, step up, step up until you get to that limit, I think. And I think Pete probably looks at it not like that at all and just doesn't. I think about it that way. That's how I think about it.
Honestly, it's probably years of me being completely ostracized for being a so-called psychopath.
Because I've been called that too. I've been called that too. Like people have been like, he's crazy, and I'm like, I don't really think I am. Like, I just am driving the car, you know. And then when I went and I drove with you guys, they're like, oh, you're not that crazy at all. You know what I mean? Right.
So Pete, since everybody thinks you're a psychopath in the car, I want to bring I want to provide them some perspective. So, in your endurance racing career, have you ever been asked to save tires or save fuel, and have you successfully been able to do so?
That's a great question. Yes, I've definitely been asked multiple times. The save tires, I don't think with the tires we run we've ever had an issue of not having tires. Okay. I think
the 200 tires hold on pretty well.
Yeah, in many of the races I've been a part of, I've set the green lap late in the race on the so-called tires that I've been accused of. Sorry, the same tires that I've been accused of destroying in the first or second stint. Later in the day, suddenly they run the fastest lap. So anyway, of the weekend, mind you, not just of the day. So tires, yeah, I think that's a pointless conversation. So, but fuel, yeah, I've been asked on multiple occasions to try to prolong fuel. I've complied a couple of times, and I found that it's made pretty much next to no difference. Maybe because of me, maybe because of just circumstances. I don't know. I've pretty much been proven wrong in terms of, when I agree with the strategy of trying to extend fuel for an extra, 5 minutes, I've found it's actually better just to stay on the blitzkrieg and you take a splash and go or hope for yellows or something like that. That's a much better strategy in my opinion, especially now that they have code 35s. You can go into the pit lane at the same pace that everyone's running on track and take one jug of gas in maybe 100 feet worth of track position
Right.
for 5 gallons of gas. So conserving fuel, I don't get that either. I think it's just a smart pit strategy. So yeah, I've complied, and honestly, I've graduated. No, thank you.
Okay. I'm just, because if you can successfully rein yourself in to comply, you're not actually a psychopath, especially if you're not really losing much time, right?
Yeah, I mean,
so
I think the majority of the stigma that I've created is in the decisions I make as far as when to pass people. The driving in itself is fine. I think I do a decent job, and I'm in control. I know what's happening. I'm even diagnosing mechanical failures for other cars from the car I'm driving. One of the roles I have on a team is to assist the mechanic side, or to be a part of it. And yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm singing songs out there. I'm having a good old time. Friendly songs, not like Slayer or anything.
Raining blood.
Could you imagine? I should put that in my videos.
I used to put like Slipknot in my videos and stuff.
Nice. That's the psychological game there.
So, Dylan, is there anything else we need to cover from your first endurance weekend?
No, I mean, I for full transparency, Con asked me to be on this podcast to talk about my first time endurance racing, and I was like, that would be a huge disservice to everyone that I worked with on that team. You know what I mean? To just talk about I did an endurance race, everybody, and I'm on a podcast. So I said, well, let me bring Pete on.
Oh, good job. Great representation.
Yeah. Bring Pete on. Well, I figured, he helped me, got me an opportunity to be in an actual wheel-to-wheel tin-top race car in a race for the first time in 2 years. So thank you.
You're welcome.
But then, I guess just the team was awesome. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing of it all. Again, it's you can't compare it to sprint. You just can't, man. It really is like apples to oranges. Like if you get deep into the sprint world, I haven't gotten deep into the enduro world, but if you get deep into the sprint world, like I think I have as an amateur driver, and then you go and do an enduro, just the vibe is so, it's like stick and ball sports compared to extreme sports. The team is more important than you are. So I just want to say, that I'm very thankful for the opportunity and the faith that everybody put into me. And I'm thankful that I get to share it with people on our side of the community, Con, so that maybe we can encourage some of our people to go into that community and start intermingling and learning more themselves.
Yeah. So at your race, one of the guys I race with, another Pete, they were in the Civic, that 10th gen Civic that was out there.
Oh,
yeah. Calvo was there.
Calvo.
So, and they broke a transmission because I told them they were going to, because it's a Honda 10th gen thing. Anyway.
You didn't bring one of your crates over and help them out?
Well, it won't fit in that transmission, but Pete was also running at the Lemons event here at Summit, a month or so ago. And I was talking to him and I was like, if 4 Honda Challenge racers got into this car or brought a car and was out on track with these people, we would be in the penalty box because we would not we would not sit behind anybody. We would be like you, Pete. We would just be like, oh, there's room. I'm passing. Hell with you guys.
I think it depends on which Honda Challenge drivers and which car.
I think in my region, all of us are sort of like, all right, we're going for it. Doesn't matter. Like, don't leave the door open.
Well, I think if you compared Lee to you, for example, it'd be a very different, because Lee is a very strong and sometimes aggressive driver. And I mean that in a good way. Lee's the man. But I do not think you're as aggressive as Lee.
No, because I don't like body work.
Yeah, Lee's the man. He's pretty good. He's really good at driving.
All right. So let's wrap up with the segment. We'll let Dillon go first so Pete can think about his answer. But Dillon, what is your favorite racer excuse?
Oh, man, I have a million of those, dude. I got to give you an honest one, too. So, rental carts. It's my weight.
It's your weight?
Yeah, that's my... I'm not saying that it's a legitimate excuse. I'm just saying that's my racer's excuse. That's rental carts. It's my weight.
Yeah, well...
He's asking for your favorite response from a racer.
From another racer?
Yeah, like, okay, someone's out there, they don't do a good job, and then they come back and
I thought we were doing, like, guilty pleasures.
No.
Like, you know, I watch Love is Blind, like, you know what I mean? But racing version.
No, your favorite reason for not being as fast as you should, if I understand correctly.
You're correct.
Con,
you're correct.
All right.
Oh, it has to be someone else talking to me?
It doesn't have to be.
It could be your favorite excuse
if you have found yourself.
That's my favorite one. The favorite one is when I drive a rental cart, I like to tell people that I'm slow because of my weight. That's what I tell them.
No,
I should try that one. Damn.
All right.
Bro, I use it all the time. It doesn't work. They don't believe me. But
all
right. So,
oh man,
Pete, what's your excuse?
There really are so many. I'm gonna go with let's see here. Yeah, I think the one I kind of like to call the most bullshit on or end up hearing the most is the tires were cooked. You know, the last guy kind of cooked up the tires, and especially in 200 treadwear racing. Yeah, that's a load of shit. I mean, maybe if you're on an AO52, I'll just give the disclaimer. Okay, fine. They could get down to the wires, but come on, you can find a way to make that car go faster.
All right. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Until next time, keep working on yourself, keep working on the car, and let's get faster.